Once upon a time, Lisa Marto and Lawrence Cadenzi share a passion for cars and for family.
They fell head over heels in love. All I heard from them was Lawrence this, Lawrence that.
It was going to be a perfect family.
They were two lost souls coming together.
But soon after they come together, these souls are ripped apart.
There was no sign of either one of them. They were just gone.
She said it's a murder case.
We were in shock. We didn't know what to say.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over. In the rural town of Lake Landor, just outside Richmond, Virginia, 29-year-old Lisa Marto prepares to marry her true love, Lawrence Cadenzi.
Do you take Lawrence to be your husband, to cleave unto him and to no other?
I do.
Lisa was radiant. She couldn't wait to start her new life as Lawrence's bride.
Lawrence?
The 30-year-old Lawrence is a stand-up guy who works as a tow truck operator.
I do.
He treated her like a gentleman would treat a woman.
He's the father of her youngest daughter and the kind of devoted dad any mom would want by her side. Lisa is one day away from graduating summa cum laude from Virginia Commonwealth University, with plans to join the Army and become a lawyer.
My mom was kind-hearted, giving, do anything for her children. I mean, she was the all-around American woman.
And Lisa replaced the ring.
The wedding's not a big to-do, just a simple but happy gathering of loved ones.
It was an informal type wedding.
I pronounce you both man and wife. Congratulations. You may kiss your bride.
It was a coming together of the two families and the first day of a new life.
But too soon, that new life takes an ominous turn. On January 29, 1995, 2 days after Lisa left for officer training school, 65 miles south in Fort Lee, Virginia, the Army informs Lawrence she never arrived on base.
They start asking questions about Lisa. Did she talk about going AWOL? It just didn't make sense because that's not who she was. She was responsible.
Lawrence immediately calls the local sheriff's office. They open a missing persons case. As word spreads among Lisa's friends and family, no one can make sense of the news.
We were in shock. We didn't know what to say at that point.
Detectives gather names of people to call, bank records to check, anything that might reveal where Lisa is.
There's a lot of things you have to rule out. You know, were they abducted? Did they leave on their own? And there's no law against that.
But would she really leave behind her new husband, 2 beautiful kids, and a bright future she's worked for since she was a little girl? Growing up with one sister in Cinnaminson, New Jersey, Lisa shines with a brilliant mind.
She had jumped a couple of grades in school. She was just a very smart kid.
She could do almost anything. Her ability to learn was unbelievable.
Her parents divorce when she's 9, and that painful time kicks off a defiant adolescence. As a teen, she really gets into customizing cars, a rare thing for girls at the time. Then after high school, she decides to leave home, determined to make it on her own, and becomes estranged from her parents.
She was headstrong and rebellious, but Lisa's rebellion was to study, work. She was trying to find her path in life.
She starts college, then at 20 gets married and has a little girl. But things get complicated when baby Leah is diagnosed with cystic fibrosis.
Upon the illness coming to light, her first husband became involved in drugs.
No, I don't want you holding her.
Lisa realizes she's chosen the wrong partner. She doesn't want an addict around her baby.
She ended the marriage rather quickly because he was not being a good father.
Here was a guy using drugs, she had a child with special needs, and she knew she couldn't save everybody in this. So I commend her for being brave enough to leave and take her baby with her.
Now a single mom, Lisa tries to get her life back on track. She moves to Richmond, Virginia, and enrolls in pre-law at VCU. While in school, she makes the most of her car customization skills and gets a job at an auto body shop, cramming study sessions into lunch breaks. It can be a tough workplace with all the guys.
What's up? Hey guys. What you doing there?
I'm working.
Well, I think you study too hard. You should get some time to, hang out.
But she's always been able to hold her own in any challenge.
Can I catch up with you guys later?
All right. Good work. Have a good time.
My mom was strong. She supported for herself. She went to school, raised me. I mean, she was amazing.
Lawrence Gadenzi also grows up in New Jersey, though his upbringing is much rougher than Lisa's. His mother is a prostitute, and he met his father only once when he was a teen.
Yeah, who are you?
He found out who his father was. He went to the man's house, knocked on the door. The man answered the door, and he said, "Hi, I'm your son, Lawrence." And the man said, "I don't care, get the F out of here," and sent him away.
What a tragic event for an adolescent. He's on the brink of manhood. He wants to seek out a male father figure.
Get off my porch!
And to be rejected in such a heartless way must have been devastating to him.
Lawrence moves to New York and starts working as a tow truck driver.
He made a much better living, but he had to deal with drug addicts, prostitutes, pimps.
Determined to be a better person than his parents, Lawrence heads south to Virginia, yearning for a simpler, more wholesome life. He moves to Richmond, and one day stops by the shop where Lisa works.
How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
All right, you work here?
His vintage hot rod needs some body work, and he needs the right girl.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Lawrence.
He was very into his car and car restoration. And here's a woman who had a pretty smile and was young, and she knows about cars.
What if you call me sometime?
Right away, he just seems different from the other guys.
I won't lose it. When you're free.
For you, maybe Friday night?
He's respectful and not at all pushy.
I think Lisa did feel like they were two perfect lost souls coming together when they met. I really think she felt this is going to be the one, the turning point in my life.
But now, Lisa is missing, AWOL from her army base. Lawrence last saw her when she left for officer training school at Fort Lee, Virginia.
He had taken her to the bus station in Richmond to drop her off to take the bus to Fort Lee.
And she's never been heard from since. It's the beginning of a mysterious tragedy that will baffle investigators and torment Lisa's loved ones for the next 15 years. Just months after her dream wedding, newlywed bride and mother of two, Lisa Gadenzi, simply vanishes. Local authorities continue working the missing persons case, looking for any trace of her.
Everybody is going to leave a record somewhere, whether you buy something, sell something, credit cards.
But they find not the slightest sign of Lisa. While investigators continue searching, Lawrence calls them about a shocking discovery he made at home. Lisa's uniform and some of her gear are still there.
She left her identification, her dog tags, all those things that she needed was left there.
Why would she leave those behind if she was really planning to complete officer training? Could she have had another secret plan?
I thought she had maybe had a change of heart about her military career. Maybe some other blessing had come and she had just decided to go another way.
But what sort of blessing could have made her leave her family just when her hard work was about to pay off? When Lawrence and Lisa first begin to date, the single mom is still working her way through college.
I'm sure it was very difficult for her between going to school, being a parent. I'm sure she probably broke down a few times trying to figure out how she was going to do everything. But she never let it show. Ever.
Now she doesn't have to do it alone. She has Lawrence.
That was important to her, to have a boyfriend that really cared for her daughter, not just her. He really did care for Leah. He took care of her like she was his own.
Leah has cystic fibrosis, and part of her therapy is to remain active. And Lawrence is more than happy to pitch in.
Lawrence was a godsend to Lisa because she was working, going to school, and supporting the medical needs of Leah. And along comes Lawrence, who has a full-time job and makes decent money as a tow truck driver and was willing to pitch in.
As a single mom, Lisa hasn't taken much time to enjoy life as a young woman.
Hi, how you doing? How many?
Lawrence wants to change all that.
Is that Leah?
Yeah, little Leah.
You're so incredible.
They would go out on dates. He would take her to dinner, into the movies.
They fell head over heels in love. Because that's all I heard from her was Lawrence this, Lawrence that.
Lawrence was doing everything right. He was caring for her daughter. He was showering Lisa with romance. Every woman would say, hey, this guy's a great catch.
After dating just a couple months, the smitten lovers decide to move in together.
He was the complete antithesis of husband number one. He wanted to live a clean Christian life with values not including drugs or alcohol.
Around Valentine's Day 1993, they discover their makeshift family is about to get a little bigger.
Really? What's that? Is that a pregnancy test? You're pregnant.
And Lisa wanted children, more children. So she was thrilled that she was pregnant again.
Lawrence was extremely happy. This is going to be happily ever after. I have a stepchild. I have my child.
He vows to give this child the kind of upbringing he never had.
One of the reasons why Lawrence was attracted to Lisa was because she was a mother. Remember, he didn't exactly have the best example of a mother in his own life. So the best he could do is try to marry a good mother.
Yet they don't feel the need to rush down the aisle.
They both knew they were going to get married eventually, and I believe that Lisa probably decided to wait until after the pregnancy so she could have a wedding with a white dress and be slimmed down and look pretty.
In November 1993, Lisa gives birth to their daughter, Dakota, Leah's new baby sister.
What movie's playing tonight?
Lawrence realizes his love for these three ladies is the forever kind,
Lisa?
And asks Lisa to be his wife.
Marry me.
Yes.
okay?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
It seemed like it was gonna be a perfect family. They had it all planned out, and then things just changed on her unexpectedly.
Because now that perfect family has been torn apart. Lawrence works around the clock with family and friends to spread the word about Lisa's disappearance.
Every time I talked to him, he'd tell me how much he loved her and how much he missed her, and he wished she would come home.
After 3 days with no word from her, they believe something terrible has happened. They worry because not long before she vanished, her ex-husband Leah's father had suddenly reappeared in her life.
Let me see my daughter.
Her ex-husband moved to Virginia because he was planning on going to court to try and get joint custody.
It's exactly what Lisa has tried to avoid, knowing all too well his history of drug and alcohol problems.
She had gotten it down. On top of it, she had a new guy. It was a new family. The last thing she needed was the ex poking his nose in.
She has no interest in sharing custody.
And he was very upset about it. He was doing everything he could to try and change that.
Would Lisa's ex really harm the mother of his only child in order to have the little girl all to himself? Has this jealous ex ripped the newlywed from those who love her best? Virginia investigators search for missing wife and mother, Lisa Cadenzi, who never made it to Army Officer Training School. Her husband Lawrence and her family desperately hope someone somewhere has seen her. Lisa's ex-husband has been aggressively trying to get custody of their daughter, Leah.
Let me see my daughter.
Lisa then suddenly falls off the face of the earth. He's an automatic suspect.
But when investigators go to talk to him, he seems to have fallen off the grid.
We tried to locate him through his family. His mother told me, well, I haven't seen him in a long time, and I think he's living in the woods.
A man on the run and hiding in the woods sounds like a very likely suspect. But even as investigators hunt for Lisa's ex-husband, Lawrence has another lead for them to pursue. It turns out that while she was at boot camp in South Carolina, Lisa had been threatened by a fellow soldier.
We did an exercise that involved bayonets, and we're just cleaning. We're breaking our weapons down and we're cleaning it. Lisa was still cleaning hers. And in the course of doing that, one of the male soldiers had, made a gesture with their bayonet, and she said she felt threatened.
Threatened by a man trained in how to kill? That quickly puts him at the top of the suspect list. The problem is, Lisa never told her friend the guy's name or reported the incident to get it on record. With hundreds of soldiers to sort through, finding out who it was won't be easy. Investigators are finding nothing but dead ends in this deepening mystery, as Lisa's family and friends wait with growing dread for any news. How could this young couple's life have been destroyed so quickly?
Congratulations, my boy.
When just months earlier, it seemed so solid. With the wedding and graduation approaching, the growing family rents the perfect starter home in a town outside Richmond called Lake Landor. A good neighbor rural paradise. Lisa realizes that in order to really start her future right, she has to make peace with her past.
Hello?
She decides to
Hi.
reconnect with her estranged father and stepmother.
I'm great.
It's difficult to make that first call, but she knows it's right.
Lisa?
Family is what really matters.
Hi.
Baby, is everything okay?
I'm actually calling you because I'm graduating college.
She invites them to her graduation. But then she really surprises them telling them that the day before the graduation will be an even bigger event.
And I'm getting married.
I said, "You're getting married?" She says, "Yes." I said, "Oh." I said, "When?" She says, "Friday." She said, "And I want my dad to walk me down the aisle." He wasn't there the first time, so she says, "I want him there the second time."
Love you too.
Lisa's parents couldn't be happier. They'll soon be back in Lisa's life. And her jeweler dad has the perfect wedding gift.
So proud of you. Proud of you.
Come in.
Wow, you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
I got a little wedding present for you.
I said, I'll bring a wedding band for yourself and one for Lawrence.
Dad.
No one should get married without rings.
I thought it was so sweet that they offered to give this young couple their wedding rings. I mean, what does a wedding ring represent? It represents eternity, right? It goes around forever and ever. Her parents had the best wishes for the wedding and the best wishes for the marriage.
Her father was on her arm, and he stood there, and he gave her away to Lawrence. It was a real tearjerker. Everybody was happy.
The next day, Lisa graduates summa cum laude and immediately enlists in the Army.
Joining the Army had benefits alongside serving your country.
I'm so excited. I'm so nervous with the Army, though.
She was going to use the GI Bill to help her pay for law school.
And I couldn't have done it without Lawrence.
Lawrence will look after baby Dakota while Lisa's at boot camp in South Carolina. But Leah, who suffers from cystic fibrosis, requires special care. So she'll stay with her grandmother, a nurse in Florida. It breaks Lisa's heart to be separated from the girls, but she knows they'll be in good hands.
Lisa's idea of being a good mother is to provide the best life she can for her kids. And that may involve sacrifice, because at the end of the day, she'll realize this sacrifice was worth it, that she'll be able to provide a much better life for her children.
Since she doesn't have to report to boot camp until November, the little family has 6 months to enjoy their new life together. But now the deep bonds of love forged in those idyllic days have been torn apart. Had Lisa's ex-husband snatched her? Or was it the soldier who threatened her with a bayonet?
The fact that Lisa didn't report it up her chain of command at that time made it really hard for the investigators to really pursue the threat that was made with her with the bayonet.
The soldier lead goes cold. But investigators do catch a break when they finally track down Lisa's ex-husband, who's been living in the woods in Florida.
When was the last time you saw Lisa?
It's been a while. I've been down here in Florida for at least a month now.
He was going through a bad time. He had some issues, problems with alcohol.
He also has something that takes him off the suspect list. An alibi.
Or we had evidence that he was still in the Florida area during that time. He was not in Virginia. So that eliminated him.
He's completely innocent. All he ever wanted was to spend more time with his daughter, Leah. Detectives have theory after theory, but no solid facts. It's incredibly hard on everyone.
There was all kinds of rumors going around, and I didn't know who to believe, who to trust, or anything.
They start to fear Lisa might not be missing. She might be dead. But there's no evidence of any wrongdoing. And by now, months have passed, so solving this mystery might be impossible. When Lisa Cadenzi vanishes, her family refuses to believe she just ran off on her own. They can't imagine she'd abandoned her two little girls by choice.
Lisa would have never just left her kids behind. You just don't walk away from your children.
A year passes with no new leads, no reliable sightings. Everyone struggles to accept that Lisa is probably gone forever.
For us not to know where she was or what happened, it was extremely frustrating. You gotta understand, Lisa and I would talk every night.
But with no evidence, the sheriff's office won't shift the missing persons case to a homicide investigation, which would free up more resources. 2 more painful years pass.
As the years passed by, I did become very frustrated. There was points in time that I knew she was already gone.
And then, without warning, Lawrence and young Dakota suddenly vanish too.
I tried calling him, phone number's been disconnected, and he never called after that. We never talked to him again.
It's a total shock and deeply disturbing to Lisa's family. They can't help thinking it's a sign of guilt. Was Lisa's killer lurking among them all along? Was it her husband who vowed to protect her? Lisa's parents are now more determined than ever to solve this heartbreaking mystery.
We never gave up. We wrote everybody we could, well, the sheriff's department, the governor, all the way up to the president.
In 1997, pressure from the family prompts the sheriff's office to hand the case over to the Virginia State Police. It's an entirely new game now.
The sheriff's office treated it as a missing person case, and nothing really happened. And the state police treated it as a homicide case from the beginning of their investigation on.
The homicide detectives approach it differently, not just asking where Lisa might be like the original investigators, but asking if anyone knew a reason why her husband might kill her. And when they re-interview Lisa's Army friend Radha, they begin to get a very different picture of the newlyweds' marriage. She says Lisa confided in her that Lawrence was not always the sweet guy he seemed to outsiders.
Lisa described Lawrence in the last few months as very controlling.
What's going on with you and the neighbor?
Nothing. Just very possessive, very suspicious of any relationship that she may have outside of their, family unit.
With a prostitute for a mom and a deadbeat dad, abandonment seemed to be a big issue for him.
He was anxiously attached to her. She was a lifeline to him, and he would do anything to keep her near.
You leave him alone.
Had some attachment disorder turned him abusive? Lisa never told her dad or stepmom about it.
Domestic violence is a very, very complicated psychological syndrome. Domestic violence victims believe that it was something they did, so if they just behave right, the next time it won't happen again. They falsely believe that they have control about when and how the violence might happen.
In November, Lisa began her 10-week boot camp in South Carolina. Challenged more than she's ever been challenged before, she started to change, grow. She got stronger, more confident. Midway through boot camp, she was allowed to come home for Christmas. State police now learn that at this point, Lawrence was deeply threatened by her new independence and her life in the Army, and was more possessive than ever.
Lawrence was fearful that he was losing control of her. He made numerous calls and bothered the sergeant about needing to talk to his wife. And when you're in the Army, you don't just get the phone calls whenever you feel like it.
Lisa was no longer timid or insecure. She was not going to take his mistreatment any longer.
I'll do whatever I damn well please.
Lisa finally had the clarity to understand the mistake she made.
She was going to end the marriage and move on from Lawrence.
January 26, 1995 was the end of boot camp and the last day anyone saw Lisa alive. That day, Lawrence showed up at camp to drive her home. They'd have one more night together before she left for officer training.
Let's go.
Lisa, get up.
But his wife was a different woman.
He saw a more confident and proud woman. And I think he was terrified because he saw that she was going beyond him. She was moving on.
I'm talking to you.
You don't get to tell me what to do anymore.
That night, they dropped Dakota off with a babysitter. Lisa wanted to talk to Lawrence alone before leaving the next day for officer training. She shared her new plan with the babysitter.
Is everything okay? I've decided I'm gonna divorce Lawrence.
That's the first step to actually leaving. First, just sort of try it out. I'm gonna leave now. I can do this. I'm sure I can. I think I'm strong enough to do this. So this was the beginning of her full emancipation. Unfortunately, it's also the most dangerous time for a domestic violence victim.
Their little heart-to-heart was overheard.
I should go.
The babysitter tells state police detectives that the next day, only Lawrence arrived to pick up Dakota. She never told this to the original missing persons investigators. State police detectives now agree with the family. They think Lawrence Cadenzi killed his wife. But by now, he too has vanished. How can they confirm their suspicions without a body or other evidence? More than 10 years after Lisa vanished, a surprise witness will emerge, and her story will finally reveal the mystery of the vanishing bride. Virginia State Police are now confident Lawrence Cadenzi killed his wife Lisa when she threatened to divorce him. But Lawrence has disappeared, taking the couple's daughter Dakota with him. More than 5 more years pass.
There was no sign of either one of them. They were just gone.
If Lawrence killed Lisa, what did he do with her?
They didn't have a body. They didn't know where Lawrence was. They were at an impasse.
Then, in 2002, almost a decade into the investigation, a Richmond news station does a story on the cold case. One viewer recognizes the missing groom's picture.
A man comes forward and says, I know where Lawrence Cadenzi is. He's living in the Harrisonburg, Virginia area, and he's living under the name of Randy Evans.
How you doing, sir? Can you come out and talk to us for a minute? Are you Randy Evans?
I am.
Right over here for me, please. Do you have any ID?
Investigators follow up on the call and find a man whose ID says he is Randy Evans.
Mr. Evans, do you have any
But
tattoos?
there's one easy way to tell if it's actually Lawrence Cadenzi.
I do.
Lawrence had a very unique tattoo on his chest. The man says, okay, you got me. I am Lawrence Cadenzi.
By now, he is remarried and is raising his daughter Dakota under the name Jenny. He even had the audacity to tell the little girl her mother left him to work as a porn actress in Vegas.
A father that would tell his child that her mother didn't want her and ran off to be a porn star, it's a real lowlife.
Lawrence claims he doesn't know where Lisa is. There's still not enough for a trial. Then homicide detectives get the break they desperately need. They re-interview a woman who rented an apartment in Lawrence and Lisa's home. She tells them a stunning new story she'd been too afraid to tell anyone before. About what she saw the night Lisa dropped Dakota off with the babysitter.
She went outside to smoke a cigarette, and Lawrence came out of the house carrying a duffel bag, a military-style duffel bag.
The bag was large and looked heavy, almost like a body bag.
She watched him, and he left for about 20 minutes. He walked on foot into the woods. When he came back, he was all muddy. Then he walked into the house, went upstairs and left dirt on the carpet. She thought, what is going on here?
An hour later, she saw Lawrence drive away. Was he planning to pick up the bag he dumped and drive it farther away? Curious, she went to check on Lisa.
In the bedroom, she found all of Lisa's personal items, her cosmetics, her jewelry, her driver's license, all her military gear that was neatly folded.
As you would expect the night before Lisa was to leave for officer training school.
Lisa, are you okay?
She goes into the bathroom and she sees blood in the sink and on the bathroom walls and on the tile. There was a large amount of blood. She got scared to death and got out of there.
She hadn't come forward before because she was afraid Lawrence might kill her too. On May 16th, 2008, more than a decade after Lisa's disappearance, prosecutor Tony Spencer charges Lawrence Gadenzi with murder. With no body, it's a big gamble whether he can get a conviction. But then Lawrence stuns everyone by pleading guilty without explanation. He claims the death was an accident.
The story that he gave to us is that they were arguing and she fell down the steps and broke her neck. Well, I can tell you, I think that only happens in the movies.
Everyone thinks it's another lie, and still no Lisa.
Well, it was important to all of us that we find this body.
As he sits in jail, they push Lawrence to help them find her. She deserves a decent burial. Finally, after a full year, he says he will lead them to Lisa's body, but only if they try to reduce his sentence.
I didn't lie to him. I told him I'd ask, and I did ask, and the answer was no.
On June 9th, 2010, Lawrence leads them along twisting roads deep into a remote wooded area, 30 miles from the couple's former home.
I can't tell you how many dirt roads we went down, and he's like, no, this is not it. No, this is not it. And he says, well, go down this road. And we go down, and he said, I think this is it.
He says he put Lisa's body in an oil drum and filled it with muriatic acid. It's a common material easily purchased at hardware stores. One of the most corrosive acids, it's normally used for industrial cleaning. But it can also literally melt a body to nothing.
Well, we couldn't find a 50-gallon drum, but lo and behold, we go up in the edge of the woods, and there sits 3 acid containers. And it was obvious they'd been there for a long, long time.
Nearby, they find a porcelain dental bridge. The dental bridge is eventually identified as Lisa's. No other remains of the lovely bride are ever found. Authorities believe Lawrence killed Lisa when he realized she was leaving him after boot camp.
The most dangerous thing in a relationship is somebody who has a violent tendency and an anxious attachment disorder. This is what Lawrence had. He needed her as a lifeline. He needed her as the air he needed to breathe. As she's trying to escape, he erupted.
Then he had to get rid of the evidence.
I think Lawrence cut up Lisa's body in the bathroom and then carried her to a remote location. He put the pieces of Lisa's dismembered body in there and poured muriatic acid in. And the only thing that didn't get dissolved in the muriatic acid was her dental bridge.
You cut her up and dispose of her in a vat of acid? Only an animal can do that.
On January 26, 2012, 17 years after she disappeared, the Army finally holds a service for Lisa.
They had the memorial, they had the color guard, they had priests there, they had the gun salute, and it was very touching. My husband was quite moved when they put the flag in his hand.
There was nothing more beautiful in this whole world than her. I saw heaven and earth in her. Lawrence tore a piece of my heart out.
Dakota is raised by Lawrence's new wife, who knew nothing of what he did to Lisa. Leah grows up with her grandmother, well-loved, but grieving.
I just miss time with my mom. I miss, like not being able to have her at my wedding or any of the things that a mom really should have been there for. He stole everything.
She was accomplishing her dreams, and Lawrence was like a dark shadow over it. He extinguished a bright light, and he took something from us we can't ever get back.